George of the jungle, strong as he can be.
George, I have roommates that live with me and pitch in for my rent. I want to buy a house. Can I count the income that I get from them every month to help me qualify for the loan? That's a question that we're going to address today in thecreditjungle.com. My name is George Anderson. Thank you for joining. And there's a lot of people that that will split up the rent expense, with roommates or whatever, and those roommates intend to move into the new house and they want to know, hey, I've already got this income coming in. Maybe it's 1/3 or even 2/3 of whatever the rent is that are being paid by the borrower who intends to purchase. And in their mind, well, that's income. Wouldn't that help me qualify for more house? So we're going to go into the different types of loan programs and where it's acceptable and where it's not. So anyway, on an FHA loan, to be able to count what we call border income, not like the border between Utah and Arizona, but border like somebody who is boarding on a room with you, BOARDER, border income. On FHA, they say, yeah, that's great. You can go ahead and count border income. How much of it did you show on last year's tax return? So they're going to want to be looking at what's called your Schedule E, which is rents received. And you can count rent even though you don't own a rental property, even though you don't own a home. If you are collecting rent from roommates and you declare that income on your tax return and we can see that it was there for the previous year, and if you showed that you had collected $6,000 in rent, then we're going to count $500 a month in rent as border income for that person that would be living with you. So, and they don't have to be on the loan, they don't have to be on the title, they don't have to contribute any money for the down payment, and if they're not a relative, they can't anyway. But but then again, how many people do that? Right, you're just going to get cash, whatever. Not going to be able to count that if I can't see it on the tax return. If you're telling the IRS that I don't have any extra money coming in, then FHA is not going to give it to you either. How about on a VA loan? Quick answer here is no. VA does not allow you to count under any circumstances any type of border income. The next one is conventional. This one's pretty interesting. So on a regular standard Fannie Mae Freddie Mac guideline loan, you cannot count border income even if you're receiving it. But Fannie Mae has what is called their Home Ready program, and this program has a couple of unusual little carve-outs in it. First of all, it has an income cap on it. So a lot of people, you're going to find that the good news is you make enough money to buy a home, but the bad news is you make too much to be eligible for the Home Ready program. And they have an online buyer education course. You can go and take the course. It's $75. You get a certificate. And the nice thing about Home Ready is that, like, if you're putting down 5% or 3%, and maybe your credit score isn't as high as you would like it to be, but it's still decent, maybe upper 600s, lower 700s. The Home Ready program is actually a good program because it will give you a lower mortgage insurance rate and sometimes even a better interest rate on the loan itself that if you otherwise were made too much income for Home Ready. But Home Ready has a couple of provisions on it for border income. So that border income falls under two categories. One of them would be is that if you, as the borrower, if you are disabled and you have basically assisted living that's living with you, and you can count up to 30% of your income. So if your income is $3,000 a month, you'd be able to count basically another $900 a month additional income if you can document that you have, that A, you're disabled, and that you have a history with somebody that has been living with you in an assisted living type capacity, because that person is going to be getting a subsidy, and then we just document that you've been receiving the rent. So we've got Section A here, and so there's disability. Try spelling when you're right in the middle of a video and you got to think through it. Anyway, but then the second one here is going to be on border income. It does not have to be on your tax return. This other provision in here basically just says that you would have to show a payment history directly from your roommate to you for a certain amount, at least that it's consistently every single month, and it has to be for a minimum of 9 months, but averaged for 12. So preferably you want to see a 12-month average. And what you need to do is that it cannot be cash. Now, how about PayPal? How about Venmo? I mean, are those acceptable? Yeah, because there's a paper trail for that, and you can print off a transaction history and you can show that. And then again, that would be averaged for 12 months. So if you've got a roommate that's been living with you for 12 months and they've been paying you $500 a month, and we can have a paper trail up. One other little thing, that roommate is going to have to show some proof that they're living at the same address with you, and that's going to have to be like a bank statement, driver's license, utility bill, something to show that they've changed their address, that they're living with you. Okay, and if they've done that, and if they've met those requirements, then here is another opportunity here to be able to count more income from that. So if somebody's got roommates that are paying for you, and even if you're not thinking about buying a home right now, but when you do, you would still have roommates. Well, have those roommates actually start getting mail, at least a bank statement, something at that address, change their driver's license, something, and then don't have them pay cash. Just have them Venmo it to you or PayPal or something so that you have a paper trail on that. Because if you intend to have, and it doesn't even need to be those same roommates, but if you intend to have roommates going forward, because again, the roommate, it's not on the loan, they're not on title, it's just you qualifying for the loan, that is an extra $500 or whatever that may be in qualifying income. And for some people, that's the difference of being able to get in the home that you want. So now, one other last thing here, and I'm going to do a quick separate video on this one when we're done, but an ADU is called an accessory dwelling unit, and we're going to get into that and how you can count the income from that, when you can and when you cannot. So hopefully that's valuable information for you today. Thanks for coming into the Credit Jungle. Remember, you can push button, get Mortgage Professional, and I'd be happy to talk with you about your situation and how to help you get the best financing terms available. Have a great day.